A few weeks ago, we made the trip out to Las Vegas for the 2025 AimExpo. While the Vegas lights and nightlife is fun, the thing that was on my radar was the various electric bicycle and motorcycle manufacturers. A lot of big names were there like Sur-Ron, E-Ride Pro, Velocifero, Naxion, Tromox, and even a new player called Forever Blue. I had great conversations and hopefully made some relationships with some of the manufacturers. While there were many bikes and toys to see, it appeared no one was doing demos. That was until I came to the Niu booth. Niu is a company that has been on my radar because I've been in the market for an e-moto that's street legal. I was happy to see they had the XQi3 there, and better yet, they were offering demo rides Thursday afternoon. I was able to talk to numerous people from Niu. One of them was Brandon Hammondtree. He is actually the builder of the custom blue supermoto that was at the beginning of the video. He is a legit moto guy and understands the market that the XQi3 is competing in. To show they understand, they had the newest version of that bike with the power upgrade, as well as the new and even more upgraded version that will release sometime this summer. It fixes some of the gripes from the current owners, and it also increases the performance to make it more competitive in the space it competes in. While going over specs and hearing about the changes are great, I really couldn't wait to take a few laps to feel the changes myself. Here is some footage of my ride on the current version of the XQi3. So at this point in the day, I had actually already ridden the newest version, and I still had to try this original version. Now this original version actually has an over-the-air update that they released earlier last year that increased the power from the 8,000 watts in the motor to up to about 10,500 or so, they claim. That was a software update. They were able to basically tune some extra stuff out of the motor to get this to perform a little better. Now, the big difference between this model here and the newest one is suspension. Battery has a little bit of a difference, and there is a little bit more of a tune on the new version to get you even a little bit more power out of it. But the suspension on this one, while it is pretty good, I'm a heavy guy, and this bike is actually rated for weight that's under what I weigh. So I was about 25 pounds or so over the weight limit that they put out for this bike. It still felt really good, but to me it felt really soft. And if I was going to off-road it, I'd either have to lose probably about 50 pounds or put some really good suspension on this. So power-wise, I know that has a little bit more due to a software deal, but you know, I don't think that's the most noticeable difference for me. Definitely the suspension, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a guy my size, that's kind of a big deal, you know? So, but this ain't bad. It's just if I was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That newer, the bigger suspension and the new one was probably a big deal.
So we brought this out for $5,000. Now it's 4.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. The price is there, so on these two. So. Yeah, that's right. You heard it. $39.99 is the current price of the new XQi3. They're trying to clear out some inventory, so when the new ones come out, they don't have too many leftovers in the pipeline. If you're in the market, right now is a great time to get a deal on a street legal e-moto. But before you go and buy your new XQi3, let me at least show you what's coming out later this year. While the chassis stays with the original design, the first noticeable change they made was to the blinker and license plate holder. This is on the street legal version only, and it is more in line with full-size enduros and gives you a better clearance when riding off-road performing wheelies. There's also a difference in the tires between the street version and the off-road version. The new one is also going to feature an upgraded battery and an upgraded motor that pushes out 12 kilowatts of power versus the original 8. Now the current $39.99 version does have a software update that pushes the motor to 10.5 kilowatts. With the additional power and upgraded battery, the upcoming version is supposed to have a top speed of around 55 miles an hour versus the current one that sits somewhere in the mid to upper 40s. Another gripe from the current version is the way you have to charge the battery. Currently, you have to remove the seat and another cover to get access to charge it. The new 2025 model now has a charging port that is easily accessible on the left side of the bike. Now let's talk about suspension. The front forks have increased in size by 4 millimeters, which brings them up to a 42 millimeter size. The rear shock remains the same, but it does have a heavier spring to help stiffen the suspension for off-road riding or for us Midwest mediums.
Green is go.
In order to put it in park or in drive, squeeze either one of the brake levers.
Okay. And if I push it, then it goes right into park.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in eco mode right now, and you can flip it up to sport.
Okay.
I'd say do 1 lap in eco and then come back around and then flip it into sport if you're comfortable.
Awesome. All right, we're up. We're in eco. All right, and wait, just follow the cones.
Yep.
Starting out, I didn't realize that I was actually outside of the track until I got about a quarter of the way in. First thing I noticed riding the bike though is in eco mode, it's very tame. I was hoping for more power, but I was going to stay true to what he asked me to do and do the first lap in at least eco mode. The other thing I noticed, since this is the first time I rode one of these bikes, is with the dirt style tire setup, it didn't handle as good as I was hoping on the street. Now that's probably me not being used to it, but I'm sure with a more street-friendly tire, this bike would have a lot more grip. With the knobbies, it did feel a little squirrely, especially considering the size of the tires that are run on these e-motos. Switching the power over to sport mode, I noticed a healthy increase in power and was a lot happier with the power delivery overall. At this point in time, I still did not know that there was a boost function that gave you even a little bit more power for a limited amount of time. The other big improvement that I brought up earlier is the suspension. It was a firmer feel on this newer bike, and I can see myself, even being a heavier guy, taking this bike off-road and enjoying it in a bunch of different scenarios. After I pulled in, I was informed that there was a boost mode that I didn't know about. He let me take another lap so I could try out that boost mode and see what that had to offer. Basically, once you hit the button, it gives you 10 seconds of full power, and then you have to wait another 10 seconds for it to cool down before you can access it again. This is a great feature if you have an obstacle you have to climb, if you're trying to loft the front end a little easier, or maybe you need to pass somebody in traffic. Overall, the two bikes, I couldn't really tell a big difference in the power delivery, but I definitely could tell a difference in the suspension, and that's where the new one really holds its value for me.
Yeah, that boost helps.
So there you have it. The Niu XQi3 is still a competitive bike that is only going to improve with its next version. Let me know what you think about the changes coming to the Niu XQi3. Is this enough of an improvement? If not, what else would you like to see? I know in this video I left out some of the tech features this bike has, putting it above most of its competition. I hope to have the opportunity to show you a more in-depth review later this year. Thank you all for watching, and as always, enjoy living the e-life.